Everything's bigger in Texas, including the test. Smash like, hit subscribe, and let's jump in.
Question 1. A tanker endorsement is required in Texas for hauling liquids or gases in containers larger than 119 gallons. True or false? True. Any container over 119 gallons in capacity requires the tanker endorsement even if empty. Question 2. The minimum age to receive a full CDL in Texas for intrastate and interstate driving is 18. True or false? False. 18-year-olds may operate CMVs intrastate only. You must be 21 to drive interstate or haul hazardous materials. Question 3. Texas CDL applicants must pass a pre-trip inspection as part of their skills test. True or false? True. A full pre-trip inspection is one of 3 required segments of the CDL skills test in Texas. Question 4. Texas CDL pre-trip inspections must include checking that all required reflectors and lights are clean and functional. True or false? True. Reflectors, marker lights, and other required lighting devices must be operational for safety compliance. Question 5. Texas CDL holders who operate part-time are exempt from random drug and alcohol testing. True or false? False. All CDL drivers, full or part-time, are subject to random drug and alcohol testing per FMCSA regulations. Question 6. In Texas, a CDL permit holder may operate a commercial vehicle without a licensed CDL driver present. True or false? False. A commercial learner's permit, CLP holder, must always be accompanied by a CDL holder in the front seat of the vehicle. Question 7. A CDL is required in Texas to operate a vehicle designed to transport 16 or more passengers, including the driver. True or false? True. Texas follows FMCSA guidelines requiring a CDL for vehicles with a capacity of 16 or more people. Question 8. The trailer hand valve should be used for parking a trailer in Texas. True or false? False. The hand valve is used only for testing trailer brakes. It is not safe for parking because it does not supply air to the spring brakes. Question 9. The Texas CDL exam allows automatic transmission drivers to operate manual trucks without restriction. True or false? False. If the skills test is taken in a vehicle with automatic transmission, a restriction will prevent operation of manual vehicles. Question 10. Texas allows drivers to take the skills test in a rental truck as long as it's smaller than a Class A vehicle. True or false? False. Test vehicles must match the CDL class and endorsements being applied for. Rental vehicles must still meet inspection and configuration standards. Question 11. A driver may legally perform the Texas CDL skills test in a vehicle equipped with automatic transmission. True or false? True. However, doing so will result in an automatic-only restriction unless the driver later tests in a manual. Question 12. In Texas, the basic control skills test does not include any backing maneuvers. True or false? False. The basic control skills test includes straight-line backing, offset backing, and alley dock maneuvers. Question 13. The emergency airline supplies air to the trailer air tanks in a combination vehicle. True or false? True. The emergency airline charges the trailer's air tanks and operates the emergency brakes. Question 14. The Texas CDL road test includes a section on basic vehicle control. True or false? True. The road skills test in Texas includes basic control maneuvers like backing and turning. Question 15. It is legal for Texas CDL drivers to use radar detectors in commercial motor vehicles. True or false? False. Radar detectors are prohibited in CMVs by federal and state law. Question 16. If the air compressor governor does not cut out, it is safe to continue driving. True or false? False. A malfunctioning governor can cause overpressurization, which is a serious safety hazard and must be repaired. Question 17. Texas CDL applicants must self-certify their type of commercial driving when applying. True or false? True. All CDL applicants must self-certify as either interstate or intrastate and indicate if they are exempted or non-exempted from medical certification. Question 18. A Texas CDL holder may transport passengers in a Class B school bus without a passenger endorsement. True or false? False. A passenger endorsement is required to transport passengers, even in school or transit buses. Question 19. Texas CDL holders are required to carry a current medical certificate unless they qualify for an exemption. True or false? True. Unless accepted, all Texas CDL holders must maintain a valid medical card. Question 20. In Texas, the brake system must include service brakes, parking brakes, and emergency brakes. True or false? True. Commercial vehicles must be equipped with all three types of braking systems. Question 21. The service airline in a combination vehicle controls the trailer service brakes. True or false? True. The service line applies and releases air to operate trailer service brakes in sync with the tractor. Question 22. Texas law requires school bus drivers to stop at all railroad crossings even if no train is visible. True or false? True. School buses must always stop at crossings regardless of active signals or visibility. Question 23. Texas CDL applicants must pass a vision test with at least 20/40 acuity in each eye. True or false? True. Meeting visual acuity standards is required to obtain or renew a CDL in Texas. Question 24. The Texas CDL Handbook includes special requirements for drivers operating in the oil field industry. True or false? True. Certain exceptions and requirements apply to oil field operations and are outlined in Texas CDL materials. Question 25. In a Texas CDL pre-trip, drivers must inspect the slack adjuster for movement greater than 1 inch. True or false? True. Slack adjusters should move no more than 1 inch when pulled by hand with brakes released. Question 26. The coupling inspection for a combination vehicle in Texas does not require checking the locking jaws. True or false? False. Locking jaws must be inspected to ensure the kingpin is properly secured. Question 27. Texas requires hazardous materials endorsement applicants to complete a TSA background check and fingerprinting. True or false? True. Hazmat endorsement requires passing a federal security background check including fingerprinting. Question 28. It is acceptable to drive a Texas CMV with a cracked or missing brake drum. True or false? False. Any crack or missing component in the brake drum is a safety defect and must be repaired before operation. Question 29. Texas CDL holders are disqualified for 1 year if convicted of a first offense DUI while driving a CMV. True or false? True. A first DUI offense in a CMV results in a minimum 1 year disqualification under Texas and federal law. Question 30. The Texas CDL exam includes questions about fire extinguisher types and proper use. True or false? True. Safety equipment, including fire extinguishers, is part of general knowledge testing. Question 31. Tanker trucks in Texas do not need to account for surge when braking if the tank is only partially full. True or false? False. Surge from partially filled tanks significantly affects braking and must be managed carefully. Question 32. In Texas, a commercial learner's permit, CLP, is valid for 180 days and may be renewed once. True or false? True. Texas issues CLPs valid for 180 days with a one-time renewal allowed before expiration. Question 33. Texas allows CMV drivers to leave the scene of an accident if they are not at fault. True or false? False. Leaving the scene of an accident is a disqualifying offense under Texas law regardless of fault. Question 34. Slack adjusters that move more than 1.5 inches are considered to be in acceptable range. True or false? False. Slack adjusters should not move more than 1 inch by hand with the brakes released. Question 35. Texas requires school bus drivers to obtain both the S, school bus, and P, passenger endorsements. True or false? True. Drivers must pass both written and skills tests for S&P endorsements to legally operate a school bus. Question 36. If a CDL driver fails the Texas pre-trip inspection portion of the test, they may still proceed with the road test. True or false? False. All 3 sections, pre-trip, basic control, and road test, must be passed in order. Failing any section ends the exam. Question 37. Commercial drivers in Texas can ignore weight limits on local roads if they are operating interstate. True or false? False. CDL drivers must follow all posted weight restrictions regardless of operating jurisdiction. Question 38. Texas CDL applicants are not required to inspect emergency equipment during their pre-trip test. True or false? False. Checking for emergency equipment like fire extinguishers, triangles, and spare fuses is mandatory in pre-trip inspections. Question 39. Texas CDL drivers are allowed to transport passengers in the cargo area of a truck. True or false? False. Transporting passengers in cargo areas is unsafe and prohibited under state and federal regulations. Question 40. In Texas, combination vehicles require a coupling system inspection during the CDL pre-trip test. True or false? True. Coupling components such as the fifth wheel, kingpin, and locking jaws must be inspected. Question 41. A Texas CDL holder may hold a valid commercial driver's license in 2 states if driving interstate. True or false? False. Federal regulations prohibit CDL holders from having licenses in more than 1 state. Question 42. Texas allows school buses to use hazard lights instead of red flashing lights when loading or unloading students. True or false? False. School buses must use amber and red warning lights during stops, not hazard lights. Question 43. Texas requires hazmat CDL drivers to carry a printed copy of their TSA clearance when driving. True or false? False. TSA clearance is verified electronically. There is no requirement to carry a physical copy unless specified by employer. Question 44. The special requirements section of the Texas CDL Handbook applies only to bus drivers. True or false? False. Texas's special requirements apply to all commercial drivers, including truck drivers, not just bus operators. Question 45. Only vehicles with more than 3 axles require a Texas CDL. True or false? False. CDL requirements are based on weight rating and vehicle type, not just the number of axles. Question 46. Air pressure should build from 85 to 100 psi within 45 seconds in dual air systems during the CDL air brake test in Texas. True or false? True. This is a standard performance check for proper compressor and air system function. Question 47. The Texas CDL air brake knowledge test is mandatory for drivers operating vehicles equipped with air brakes. True or false? True. Without passing the air brake test, a restriction will be placed on the CDL. Question 48. A Texas CDL holder must notify their employer within 30 days of receiving a traffic citation, excluding parking violations. True or false? True. CDL holders are required to report most moving violations to their employer within 30 days. Question 49. A valid Texas CDL is required to operate a vehicle hauling any amount of hazardous material that requires placarding. True or false? True. Placarded hazmat loads always require a CDL with hazmat endorsement. Question 50. Texas CDL drivers are not required to stop at railroad crossings when transporting placarded hazardous materials. True or false? False. CMVs transporting placarded hazardous materials must stop at all railroad crossings, even if no train is visible.
Thanks for watching. If you're still feeling unsure, don't worry. Hit the link for your cheat sheet and let's keep studying.